Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Our guest today, Mona Lisa. Mona, thank you for being here. I really appreciate you coming on. And can you tell us, first of all, where you're calling in from and what you do for a living with Vanity Tools?
Hello, I'm here from Brooklyn, New York, and
Awesome.
I'm the founder of Vanity Tools. And I came up with this great idea a few years ago, and I don't know, just it moved me, and here I am.
That's amazing. I'm also in New York City as well. I'm in the Upper East Side, so it's very cool. And I guess I'm just curious, tell me a little bit more about your background. What kind of made you want to get into this space? And what did you kind of notice out there that already existed in the market that you were trying to do a little bit differently or maybe better with your brand?
Overall, it was about 2016, and I remember it clear as day. And I was just like, why is it that, I get dressed, I'm in a rush, I'm a New Yorker, so I probably forgot to put gas in the car the night before. And then, in the morning, it's like hustle and bustle, right? I get makeup on my clothes while I get dressed, and I'm like trying to figure out how to get the stain out, figure out another look, and the time is ticking. And I was like, it gotta be something out here like that prevents this, instead of like me using like a plastic bag or like a shower cap. And I looked around and I found like a product and I was just like, this doesn't work well at all. And I noticed that I couldn't just walk into a store and purchase, any product to protect makeup from transferring to my clothing. And then it just happened. I was like, you know what? I went to a factory here in Brooklyn, near the Verrazano Bridge on the Brooklyn side. And I was like, to the factory owner, I was like, hey, you do apparel. I'm looking for something that's shaped like this, that can stretch, that can go over big updos, that I can wash and reuse. I was so certain that I wanted the product to be something I could wash and reuse. That was really important to me. I didn't want anything like cheapy that was like that just you use it once and done with it.
Mm-hmm.
And we created a pattern for samples, and I used it for like 2 to 3 years. And I was like giving away to friends. And I was like, this is a thing. Like, I don't get dressed without the vanity hood. And then I called it the vanity hood down the road. But I was like, I don't get dressed without this. It's like, I take it with me everywhere. One is in the car. One is, in my makeup kit. Like one is at home at the vanity. But that's pretty much how it all came about. Just me being frustrated with getting dressed and getting makeup transferred onto my clothing. And the vanity hood created.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's fair enough. I always love the origin stories of like very, very unique inventions like this. But I like that it's kind of more of like an optimization of seemingly things that sort of exist, but just like seem to be done lazily or cheaply to try to like kind of optimize for something that can be reusable and better. So that's awesome. And I guess I'm curious, like, as far as when you got like the actual version of the product from the manufacturer that like you really liked and brought this to market for the first time, what was your kind of general strategy, I suppose, or like where you were looking to sell these things? Like, are we looking to do online selling like through an e-commerce store, or were you trying to like partner with more retailers? What was your kind of general strategy at that time?
Well, in the beginning, this is pre-COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So I take it serious in 2019. So I'm like, I'm on to something. Let me see, what I can do with this. But I felt like back then, I was like, oh, you can't find this in an Ulta, Sephora, CVS. Anywhere there was like makeup, there was no product like this, right? So I was like, wait a minute, I should be buying like a makeup brush, a beauty sponge, and a vanity hood. Like, so in the beginning, I was just like strictly about there is this white space for this type of product. I need to be the first to shelf, the first to market. So that was the idea at first. But then, of course, I created a website. So I was selling through the website. But in the beginning, it was like, I'm going to take over the world with this product because no store has it available like in store at your local anything.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And I guess I'm curious too. So that was kind of your general strategy. And then obviously COVID hits. Really forced to sell online. Has that kind of become the biggest part now since you kind of had to make that transition? It's probably shorter than a year after you really like, put 2 feet into this venture. But have things kind of stuck on that side, do you think, more, or have you kind of rebounded since, COVID regulations, really in New York, it's only been a couple of years seemingly, but we got kind of laxed since that time?
Well, of course, COVID hit. And then, yes, everything went to online. So the strategy really changed, like the focus of having like, a sales rep and just, speaking with different buyers. It was still very early on. Like I wasn't even retail ready, like packaging wise at that time. So COVID kind of like helped me like slow down a bit, figure out like what I'm going to do now that the strategy is going to be more like online sales, and just be more prepared for like when everything cooled over, how would I approach retail if I decided to approach retail again. But yeah, it was a big transition because I was like, what do you mean? I gotta like social media, like everyone's selling on social media, everyone's hashtagging this and hashtagging that. I will say during that time, I did speak with a lot of retailers. And during that time, people were really open to like working with different type of brands. They were looking for newness. But at that time, I will honestly say I wasn't ready logistically for retail. So just focused on like D2C.
Yeah, no, it definitely makes sense. And something I hear a lot from, other kind of like CPG brands, they call them, whether it's food and drink or, products like this or jewelry or whatever it is. Obviously getting into the retail space for the first time, there's a lot of new relationships, there's a lot of new logistics on that side of things. And, it's a lot to invest in for something not to work out on that side, for the amount of volume that you have to do for that side of the business to be successful. Obviously on your D2C side, probably doing a little bit better margins, having a little bit more of like a direct customer interaction, which is also great. I think is a great first kind of vertical for, somebody selling something like in the stage that you kind of are, because you can get that really great direct sort of feedback, right? So, and to that point, I guess I'm always curious, with products like this that seemingly could be used by women, probably from all ages and all genders and everything. I suppose has anything kind of carved out as far as any like specific customer demographics that you seem to resonate a little bit more with? And has any of that surprised you, or is it kind of like on par with like where you thought your target market was?
I've learned this. You think you know who your target market is until you find out who they are because of the people that actually buy from.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that, of course, I'm like, oh, this is a product great for people 21 to 46. No, it's like a woman who's probably well kept, not a single mom necessarily. She is just someone with a lot of time on her hands, likes to always be neat. She's going to brunch with her friends, or she's in politics. Those are the type of orders I get constantly. That's the target that I hit all the time. And they're anywhere from about 27 to 34. So I just noticed that it's like either they're really a professional person, or it's this woman who's just like the Housewives of Potomac or something. It's just, it's like either or. But of course, a lot of different people shop. But I noticed that demographic is more than anyone else.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating, and it's such a good point. And so I do usually ask that question, especially when somebody's more kind of e-commerce forward, because the answers are always really interesting. Yeah, I guess. Well, why do you think it skews like a little bit like older, like the I guess like demographic insofar as like what they kind of do for a living? But it seems like housewives and like really like well kept professionals. Why do you think it skews maybe a little bit older in that way?
I think with the professionals, I don't know what's going on in the DC area, but all the political women, I don't know. But I just feel like the professional, she doesn't have time to spare. She's not trying to find another top, another dress. She wants to be neat when she goes into these meetings. So I assume like, that was kind of like me coming up with this. And then the other woman, she is just like, how dare I like use a shower cap or a plastic bag? This is the product for this particular issue. And that's what I'm going to use. And I'm going to be neat. And I'm going to go to brunch with my girlfriends and just have a great time and not have makeup on my clothing. This is a person that has a lot of time on their hands and is very detail oriented. And they're just not stepping out a mess.
Yeah, no, it's fair. It's fair enough. I appreciate your insights into that, and the customer avatars as they develop kind of more organically are always really interesting, like you said. So I'm always curious to hear about that, and I'm curious as well. Thinking about some of these other products. I know we talked a lot about the Vanity Hood, the original, flagship product for you guys. What kind of led you to expanding the SKUs on the website and what you're selling into some of these other things like the brush holder and the mat? Was that from feedback that you got directly from customers, or were they just seemingly like kind of natural progressions and like the part of your life and habit that you go through when you maybe will be using the hood, you wanted to kind of complement that same like mind space, I suppose, in somebody's routine?
So when you sit at your vanity, or any space. You know, some women have like a huge mirror and they just sit on the floor and do their makeup. Whatever the space is, it could be the car. I mean, you're from New York. You live in New York. I'm from New York. We see women doing makeup on the train. Whatever space you feel the most comfortable in to do this, I just wanted that space to have a system in place. Like, I would always do my eyeshadow and get the fallout from the eyeshadow all over the vanity top. So whether you're in the bathroom, it's the sink, it could be the floor, in your lap because you're in the car. And I was like, and it's makeup, it can stain, especially like if it's a white top or anything. So whatever space anyone is in, it should be, this is where you're most vulnerable. This is where like women are plucking their eyebrows, adding on eyelashes. You know, it's like this Zen space. It's where the magic happens. It's where the transformation happens. And I just wanted a space where everything belonged. Like, I know that when I'm finished, I took 15, 20 minutes to put this makeup on. I look amazing. I feel great. Hair, makeup is done. Then I get dressed and like that feeling of, so confident. It just leaves the room. So the Vanity Hood prevents that. And then I came up with other innovative products like the No Mess Vanity Mat. So that way, when you're doing your makeup, the vanity would stay clean. You wouldn't be burning the countertops with your hot tools. The No Mess Vanity Mat is like one of my favorite because it's so cute. You can like travel with it. I just was in Vegas like last week and I took it with me. So I'm not burning the hotel countertops with my hot tools.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I wanted to make sure like other items that I created were different from what you would just normally find in your regular stores or online. Products that there is actually like a need for. The Velvet Vanity Mat, same concept, is just that it doesn't have the silicone holder. It's a little bit bigger, so it covers up more space on the vanity. It's great to like, if you wash your brushes, you can lay them out to dry. Of course, it prevents the makeup fallout and blush and powders from getting all over your countertops. The brush holder, that was like a no-brainer. You know, when I travel, I love it. The fact that it's fabric, I feel like I can get enough brushes in it and it just fits well into like any luggage when I travel. I use it all the time. Has a really cool pocket on the inside for like your vanity puffs or like little makeup puffs. So all the products are just to enhance what's going on at the vanity, to make life at the vanity easier, more calm, stress-free. This is where we're supposed to let the magic happen.
No, it's actually fascinating, and I don't think it's something that is spoken about enough when you think about, you know, expanding your SKUs with, you know, when you have an original product that gets a lot of traction, is not only thinking about, you know, what can we make that's similar, or what can we make that's like the same but a little bit maybe more specific to a certain demographic or something, but just thinking about like, okay, where are people and like what is their experience when they're using this initial product? Like, how can we take up more of their, you know, everyday usage at this location in their home or in their hotel that they're going to be using things? I think that's actually a really fascinating way to think about like product development that I've not really heard from like many other folks. Is like, you know, for instance, even you could like, just as an example, like something as simple as like, you know, coffee. It's like, you make, you know, coffee for people. Why not sell them the coffee filters too? Like, you could have everything like the same brand, like in your like routine in the morning. Like, why don't you make the coffee maker too? I mean, that may not be feasible, but just like an idea and like think about product development like that is really fascinating. So I really appreciate you sharing that. And then Mona, one question I do always like to ask everybody that comes on the podcast, which is just, you know, if you could go back to, I know 2019 was kind of your big year putting 2 feet into this venture project, obviously. If you could go back and give yourself any one piece of advice, if you were to kind of start this business again, or I suppose bring it to market again, what do you think that piece of advice would be?
I always say, if I could do this all over again, I would have just probably put more research into like understanding e-com, you know, retail in the beauty space. I feel like I was like, I got an idea, www. And I just went for it. You know, I think that I would have just put more time into understanding like the grassroots of like building a business and not learning like as I go. I probably wouldn't put too much time into it, but I would have put a significant amount of time into that. Yeah, I think I would have done that.
Yeah, I think it's good advice. I mean, it's kind of that delicate balance between, you know, as an entrepreneur, you know, in order to do something, make it successful in a capital venture, I mean, you just got to get after it and start doing it and learn along the way. But, you know, this is that delicate balance between like that marketing adage. It's like, you know, if you're not embarrassed by that first product you brought to market, you probably did it too late. But then also wanting to also be diligent so that you can like not make mistakes that are going to cost you a lot of extra time and money and headaches. So I think it is. It's really good advice. I appreciate you sharing that. And just want to give you a quick opportunity as well, Mona, just to shout out your anything on your social media, any any way to stay in touch with you guys if anybody's interested in maybe a potential business partnership with you or just wants to try these products. What's the best way to stay in touch with you and keep tabs on with the company?
So on Instagram, it's at My Vanity Tools. And if they want to reach out to me, it's Mona Lisa at myvanitytools.com. And the website to look at the products are myvanitytools.com.
Amazing. Well, Mona, I just want to say thank you so much again for coming on today. I really appreciate your insights and what you're doing. Just want to wish you the best of luck and continued success in everything that you're doing. And really looking forward to staying in touch as well.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.